Hi everybody, my name is Anastasia and today I wanted to do a little different video for my channel. I'll talk about the difference between British people and Russian people. A little disclaimer, I was educated in both Russia and the UK, so I spent first part of my life in Russia and then I moved to the UK to study and then I was working in the UK and now I've been back to Russia for a couple of months. So I know both nationalities pretty well. I lived in big cities mostly. But in many cities, for example, in the UK, I lived in Cambridge, Manchester, and London, and in Russia, I've lived in Moscow, as well as Ural region and also near Belarus called Smolensk region. And now I am in St. Petersburg. I hold both nationalities. I love both Brits and the Russians with all of my heart, but they're very different. So I wanted to share my personal experience. You may agree, you may disagree, so please write in the comments your personal opinion. Something that I notice every single time when I go to the UK or Russia is the eye contact difference. I feel like British people don't usually hold strong eye contact, especially when you're walking around, when you're in public transport, or even meeting new people. I feel like they always look away, while Russians always look at you to probably determine who you are or to judge you or just to see what kind of character you have. So whenever you are traveling to Russia, be prepared to everybody look at you like that. And when I come to Russia from the UK, I usually feel like, why is everybody staring? Is there something wrong with me? But this is genuinely just how people look. They always like to hold strong eye contact, and in fact it's perceived as a weak personality, and it's almost like a coward if you look away while you're talking to somebody. You almost need to stare. While in the UK, it is considered more rude if you're staring at everybody who's passing by or looking at them up and down. Let's talk about being polite. I feel like in St. Petersburg, it's probably the most polite Russian city you will find. So it's very similar to the British culture where people are very not friendly, but I would say they are always saying thank you and you're welcome. They would have more courtesy holding the door, while in Moscow, for example, people are very fast-paced, so they don't really have time to probably do certain courtesies. While in the UK, everybody's extra polite. You know, people are always apologizing for everything, saying sorry. Even if somebody stepped on your foot, you would apologize. While in Russia, for example, the other day I was taking out trash and I was opening the door and the guy rushed in my face. So I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And his response was, the Russian guy's response was, oh, I'm the one who's sorry because I'm the one who rushed, so don't apologize. So in Russia, there's almost like a fairness in terms of people know who is the guilty one and who should apologize. So in Russia, if somebody steps on your foot, you would wait for them to apologize rather than you apologizing anyway. And it's funny because every time I come to Russia, I always find myself apologizing and people look at me like I'm really weird. Like, why are you apologizing all the time for not actually doing anything wrong? But it's something nice in London that people do apologize more. I would say that British people smile way more than Russians, of course. Not as much as Americans. I think that Brits don't have that kind of, not fake, but that extra, you know, smiliness about them. But they're definitely more smiley than Russian. And there's even a saying that smile without a reason means person is stupid. But at the same time, when you go to Russia and somebody's smiling at you or they're laughing, you know it's genuine. That's why sometimes you tell a joke and people are sitting there with a straight face and you think that, oh, okay, my joke didn't go that well. Well, in the UK, people would probably smile or laugh at your joke just to be polite. So I would say that people in Russia are not rude, but they just are more genuine in that reaction. And to be grumpy, it's not rude. It's just that it means that you did not cause a reaction or your joke was not funny. Another funny thing that happened to me in terms of politeness, when I landed in St. Petersburg like over a month ago, I did a COVID test in the airport. So I went to the airport, the guy did my nose swab, you know, the usual. And when I was leaving, I told him, oh, have a nice evening. And he told me with a straight face, why would I have a nice evening? My job is to, you know, swab people's noses. And then I laughed and he laughed. In Russia, people do wish each other to have a nice day, but probably more when they're friends or more so in the service industry, in the cafes or in sales, like if you visit a shop. One thing in Russia we have very similar to France, for example, when you come into the shop, you have to say hello, like bonjour. While in the UK, I feel like people don't usually say hello. They probably ask, excuse me, or, you know, goodbye, but they don't really say hello when they come into the shop. So I think that's a kind of similar thing to the French. Personal space. In the UK, even before COVID, I feel like people have bigger distance between themselves. So for example, when you're on public transport and it's not rush hour, people do keep away. Or for example, if you're on the bus in the UK or in metro, people would not sit next to each other if there is a spare space. So people always like to have a space between themselves. And right now, especially during COVID, people have extra space. So in the UK, you feel like everybody's spaced out, there's always space. While in Russia, people stand really close to each other and there's no such a thing as a personal space. And if you're actually queuing somewhere and you leave too big of a gap between you and the person in front, somebody would then come between you to think that, oh, you're not actually queuing. And this happened to me a lot when I traveled to Russia this time, because especially now during COVID, you know, we're told about this 2-meter distance, 1.5-meter distance, but Russians, they don't care. They still queue really close. If you're queuing for the public toilet or anywhere, people always stand really close to you and always feel like somebody is just there, always. One thing that's true about Russians, that they are more direct compared to the... So for example, in the UK, in the work environment, you know, you would say something like, oh, would you mind getting that paper, or would you mind sending me that document, please? In Russia, people would not say, can you please send me the document? They would just say, send me the document, open the door, do this. So in English, it actually sounds more like somebody's ordering each other, but it's just a direct way. People think that it's saving each other's time and extra words just to say exactly what you mean. And sometimes it can actually be quite hurtful if you're not used to this. For example, if I go see my grandmother in Russia and I lost weight or put on weight, she will literally tell me, you're skinny or you're fat. She would not be extra polite about it. While in the UK, people are more softer on the edges, so the interaction seems more pleasant. At the same time, in the UK, sometimes you feel like people waste a lot of time about this common courtesy, but again, it's just a preference of how you are, and I find this British politeness and awkwardness really endearing. In Russia, you don't find anybody really awkward. They just tell you exactly what they mean, exactly what they want. Yes, not everybody is like that, but mostly people are pretty direct. In the UK, you know, you have this awkwardness like, oh, I'm sorry, oh, like that kind of thing, which is very sweet. I would have to also note a thing about tough personalities. I feel like Brits in general are tough and hardworking and loyal and honest. But I think in Russia people are a bit tougher. It's probably because of the weather, you know, harsh winters, very hot summers, and also a lot of wars in the history. So people usually look at somebody who is struggling with little things as pathetic. So even in COVID right now, it's funny that Russians look at it as a kind of, okay, yes, it's a virus, but you know, we need to live. We've survived worse things. While in the UK, people are more sensitive about it, and they think that we need to protect each other and more caring about each other. Even in government, you know, in Russia, we had lockdowns last spring when COVID just started, and the government was not aware of exactly the risks and everything. But again, because the healthcare in Russia is free and there's a lot of space, a lot of hospitals, it was not as extreme as in the UK with lockdowns. So in Russia we only had lockdowns from March until probably July, and then things opened up. While in the UK right now there are lockdowns, and if you watch my previous vlogs you'll know that's the reason I came here, because here everything is open. While in the UK, yes, it's a much smaller country and there are limited hospitals and healthcare is free, but still it's limited. So I think this is why government in the UK is being more cautious about protecting the population. While in Russia, the whole attitude about COVID is kind of nonchalant. People don't care much. They think, oh, there's a lot of problems already in the world. We will all die anyway. You know, the classic Russian death thing is very casual to talk about. Well, in the UK, people don't really talk about death that way, and they try to protect every life, they try to save everybody. But in Russia, I think people just realize that, okay, we can't save everybody and death will happen to all of us, so let's just, you know, chop, 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 move on with our lives. I would say that most British people are also very honest and very proper when it comes to, I don't know, things like leaving your wallet somewhere. Whenever I lost my card, whenever I lost my phone, people would always somehow return it to me. Of course, there's still crime in the UK, but I feel as a general rule, you know that things will be done properly. There is no bribery in the UK, while in Russia, you still need to be careful, because there are more scams, paperwork, and there's definitely more bureaucracy and more bribery. So in that way, things are more difficult, and sometimes it matters who you know in a society and who works where. For example, if you know somebody in the police station or somebody who works with the documents, you can get your passport much quicker. There's no general rule of this is the queue and we're just gonna go one by one. Well, in the UK, I feel no matter who you are, the rules still apply. And Russians are generally, I think, a bit more scared of the government. For example, in the UK, it's common to see, you know, jokes about the politics and the prime minister. Well, in Russia, people do joke about Putin, but they're still a bit cautious about it, especially if you're a successful businessman or you are in the government. You would really watch what you say. So we do have a freedom of speech in Russia, but it's not as free as in the UK. I feel like Brits are very outspoken. You don't really have to watch what you say and what you do. This is actually one thing I love about the UK, because you can dress how you want. You can literally just get out of the house looking like a mess, you know, like in your pajamas, and literally nobody would care. While in Russia, there's still a sense of judgment, because even if you have a lot of money, but if you go out on the street, you know, with this like messy hair bun and unironed clothes, and maybe like something is dirty or you have a hole, people would think that, oh, like you are not really important or you can't look after yourself. So in Russia, there's still this strong judgment on your appearance. And this is why actually when I came to Russia this time, I noticed how much effort people put in their appearance. Most of the girls, for example, they have this nice hair, nice outfit, nice nails. Well, in the UK, I think people are more accepted of not natural beauty, but they just don't put as much effort. I feel like in Europe and America, maybe women look after themselves more in some way. And that's actually kind of a harsher society in some way. For women, there's a lot more pressure in Russia, because there's no such a thing as a body positivity movement. It is growing a little bit, but still, if you look at general population in Russia, is much slimmer than the British. Because again, people are very judgmental still about people who are overweight, because it is considered that they're lazy, they don't look after themselves, or they have health problems. People don't generally accept that, you know, having more body fat is considered healthy or attractive, which is, you know, really sad, because it's not the case whatsoever. While in the UK, people are more open-minded about, you know, being more curvy, and average dress size for sure in the UK is larger than Russia. I do have to note that, you know, capital cities like London and Moscow, I feel like people are generally slimmer than countryside, and that's normal, because in the countryside probably there's more like drinking culture. I do have to mention about drinking that even though people have a stereotype that Russians drink a lot, British people drink way more. I think that Russians probably drink stronger spirits, but they drink more on occasions. So for example, if it's somebody's birthday, people drink, or if it's like a wedding or some party. There's no such a culture of going to the pub after work, because people, I feel, in Russia work longer hours than the British, so it's quite rare to finish at 6 o'clock sharp or 5 o'clock or even 7. And this is why actually a lot of shops in Russia are open until probably 10 o'clock at night, so that people who work until 8 or 9 can still go out and do shopping. And post office, for example, in Russia is open 7 days a week until very late as well. While in the UK, I feel like it's quite nice that there's more balance between work and leisure. So people go out drinking more, or hanging out with friends, spending more time with family. I would feel that in the UK there's way more drinking places like pubs and bars, while in Russia there are more probably restaurants. Of course there are bars in Russia, but there are probably not as many bars and pubs as in the UK. If you would ask me which nationality I prefer, which people I prefer, I would say both. I think that both have their quirks and their interesting things, and I actually don't get annoyed with either of them. I find it endearing when Russians are direct and cold and rude to me in the British sense, and I also find it endearing when British are very awkward and apologetic. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know if you would like me to do similar type of videos to maybe compare other aspects of the culture, of the food, or anything else at all, and let me know if you agree or disagree, or if you've noticed certain traits of personality of people that you would like to add. I would love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching. Bye!